You see his career numbers, 4 seasons, 322 games. He's been very durable as well. 7-year, $81.5 million contract. And he spent part of his day-to-day at MSG showing off his new jersey. It's going to be number 10. He also mingled with Rangers fans outside the team store and then explained why he signed with the Rangers.
Потому что всегда мечтал играть за Rangers.
I dreamt of playing for the Rangers. They're the original 6, and my heart has been here.
Здесь.
This move by no means alters our plan. He's part of the rebuild, and he's part of the process of what's been going on over the last year and a half. And I know sometimes when you sign a free agent, people may jump to different conclusions, but that certainly isn't the case. You know, he's 27 years old. He's in the prime of his career. He keeps himself in great shape. There's not a lot of mileage on him, and we believe his best hockey's ahead of him.
I know you've gotten to know him a little bit now. You've seen him play in this building, so you know this building is something that he gravitates toward. What is it about the short time you've gotten to know him that makes you think that he will understand and thrive on a stage that's going to be very bright?
He just embraces any challenge that's thrown to him, and when you meet him, you see an electric personality. The first time we met, we sat down for about an hour, and he never stopped smiling. And you know, his passion for the game is evident, not only on the ice but off the ice. And we all know we're getting a great player on the ice, but I think what he's going to add away from the rink is also invaluable.
You and the organization did a lot of scouting on Kaapo Kakko. You've gotten to see him up close and personal now in your uniform on your ice. What stood out about his appearance last week? And do you feel like Artemi's presence might take a little bit of the pressure off of the spotlight that might be on him?
For sure. I think when you add someone like Artemi to your lineup, a guy that's been around and had the success he's had, you know, maybe the attention's going to be on him a little bit more than it would be on Kakko. So, you know, that might help him a little bit, but I think Kaapo embraces the challenge as well. He shines best when he's on a big stage. He proved that at the World Juniors. He proved that at the World Championships. And I think his foray into the National Hockey League will be no different.
Dave, thanks so much for joining us. So many prospects for the Rangers. Where does Lundqvist fit into the mix, you think?
Well, you know, it was interesting when you hear him talk about, when I asked him about moving forward, I think he's fairly honest about the fact that he's still, you know, in the developing stages. And I think, you know what, the telling thing, I've had a chance to talk to he and Shesterkin and Kravtsov and Kaapo. And you know what you forget is these kids, they're still young. And you really get a greater appreciation of that is when you see them in their civvies, out of equipment, and they are not yet men when it comes to the physical aspect. And he's even one of the younger fellows. So I think he's got a fairly honest assessment of where he's at and where his future lies. I think the difference, too, is when he comes over, he'll have to get accustomed to playing on that smaller ice surface. So I think it's a year to 2, and then, you know, how long he... But at the end of the day, these guys are still kids. They're not man strength yet. And but by all accounts, this guy's got a couple of really good assets when you talk about the way he moves and the way he can understand, appreciate the different things he can get done in the game. And it sounds like the Rangers really like what they see.
Boy, Dave, the offseason has gone so well so far for the Rangers. The news yesterday that they've signed Artemi Panarin. Earlier, we had a little bit of a soundbite from him talking about how he always wanted to be a Ranger. You know the game better than just about anybody in terms of your knowledge of other players before they come to the Rangers and what they can bring. What does he bring to this team?
Well, here's what you look at. I think it's fair to look at now. We go back to 2014, that Cup run in 15. The Rangers were a real good sum of some real good parts. But then you have to look at the upper end and see, do you have game breakers? And other than Henrik Lundqvist, and certainly no offense to Rick Nash or no offense to Ryan McDonough and players of that nature, but that next level. And can Artemi Panarin be that type of player? It sure sounds like it, right? And now when you throw a guy like Kaapo into the mix, it sounds like he's could track to that way. You throw Trouba into the mix. Now you're starting to talk about people that can actually be game changers when the game's on the line. Now, Panarin's certainly been in the league long enough to know now what the factor he's going to be. A guy like Kaapo is the future still bright for him. and Trouba's been around long enough. So for me, I think you're getting closer to having game changers besides Henrik Lundqvist. And again, I know we've talked, Bill, along the way, and it's been exciting to see what's happened. But I do think the better things are still to come, and it may still take time for that to come. But when you're adding Trouba, when you're adding Panarin, you're certainly creating a heightened excitement about what's going on here. And I think we can all admit that it's certainly happened a lot quicker than we thought it was going to happen. But I still think patience is going to be a virtue.
For the Rangers making all the moves, the Devils drafting Jack Hughes and acquiring P.K. Subban and signing Wayne Simmons, and the Islanders, the moves that they made, including the re-signing of the captain Anders Lee, who came to terms yesterday. And Anders now joins us on our video call center. Thanks so much for joining us. Congratulations on the new contract. Anders, was there ever any doubt in your mind that this was going to work out?
Thank you, first of all. But no, I mean, it's part of the process. It's kind of a lot that goes into it, and back and forth. But I always knew at the end of the day we were going to come to terms. I really wanted to come back, and that was reciprocated on their end. So, there were some times where it was a little bit, part of the business side of things that you don't always enjoy. But at the end of the day, I couldn't be happier.
Do you ever worry about lacking motivation now? Obviously, you've worked so hard to get to this point. You have now the security of a 7-year contract. Is it going to be a challenge to stay as focused as you have had to be to this point in your career?
No, I think actually for me it's that much more motivating. It's extremely exciting. There's a lot to live up to, and I want to go do that the best I can and make this all a perfect situation for everyone. And I think as competitive athletes and people in professional sports, you want to always strive to be better and always want to build off years past. And that drive just gets stronger and stronger. The older you get, at least that's what I've noticed. And the passion that you have for the game, you understand it's, we're so lucky to be able to play this, and I can't take anything for granted.
Of course, you're the captain of the team leader. Do you talk to your teammates during the summer? Do you work out with them? What's the offseason like for Anders Lee?
You know what? We see, your teammates all the time. Everyone has about a 12-week window to get married. So about almost every weekend in July, we're getting together in some way, shape, or form, and makes for a good time, but also being able to catch up, see how everyone's doing. And, Nick Leddy, Brock Nelson are around here in Minnesota, so I have the opportunity to see them.
Before we brought you on, locally here, Devils have been very active. Obviously, the Rangers have made big news. Do you follow these types of things, these transactions, and how do you react to what's going on elsewhere in the division?
Well, you know what? I mean, these are all some pretty key additions for these teams. It's hard not to take notice, and especially when it's in your own division. And Metropolitan has been so competitive for, the last few years. They obviously had a few Cup champions come out of it. So it's only going to get tougher, and you can see the moves that have been made have only helped these other teams. And of significance for you guys in net, Robin Lehner, of course, signs with Chicago, and you guys then go ahead and sign Semyon Varlamov. What's your reaction to that? You know what? It's always tough to see a teammate go. It's part of the business sometimes, and Robin is going to be. We have some big shoes to fill, and not just on the ice, but his character and who he was as a person. And looking forward to meeting Semyon here soon and getting the chance to become his teammate, and looking forward to what he brings to the table. He's had a really great career, and he's going to continue that here with us. When you look at what's gone on with your team to this point, Anders, is there anything that you would like to see happen in terms of maybe some additions to the roster here going forward the rest of the summer? Oh, geez, I don't know. That I leave that to Lou. Worry about myself, get myself ready, checking on the guys in the summer and see how they're doing, making sure they're doing well, and enjoying what it is this time off and away from the game, but at the same time reflecting on last year, reflecting on what you're doing now, how you're working to get better, and really gearing up for September. All right, Anders, we'll leave it there. Again, congratulations.
Great new contract, lots of security, and congratulations on being able to remain with the Islanders.
I really appreciate it. Thanks for having me on.
For more great videos from the MSG 150, check out right there. And remember, our show is on Monday through Thursday, 8 to 10:30 p.m. on MSG Network and MSG Go.